Hello everyone. Today I wanted to show a little card that I made. It is made, let's see if I get this down on the screen here. It is made with our Budding Peony stamp and thin cut set, brand new out of our Seasonal Expression 1 catalog this time around. Such a pretty romantic set of peonies. I opted for the set. You can go just for the stamp set, which is that. And I don't know if it's very obvious, but on the envelope it's a little bit duller, but there are lots of sentiments. Friend, hello, you, adore, love, thank, and appreciate. So you can mix those up to make any sentiments that you desire with that set. I decided to purchase the bundle, which means that I went ahead and purchased the thin cuts because there were a lot in this set. And it just makes it a lot easier than fussy cutting everything. So, I worked mainly with the great big peony, as you can see here, and I put it on our one of our bigger acrylic blocks. I inked it up with some of our Close to My Heart intense black ink. I wasn't sure at first whether I was going to do watercolor pencils, watercolor, or Shinhan markers, so I thought, well, let's go with the intense black, and we can go ahead and see, you know, which one I like the best. So, again, this is the card that I made yesterday in the mail. I'm very excited to receive 2 more set of thin cuts that I had purchased. Stitch rectangular frames and stitch square frames. So I wanted to create a card that used both of these. Now, what I thought was really unique about these is that you get 2 pieces from each one of these 3 thin cuts in either set. So I picked out our biggest rectangle here, which on my Versamat, might be off a little bit for you guys to see, it's about 5.5 by 4.25. So what's nice about it is that the outermost piece that you're going to create fits your A2 card, which means that the inner piece that you're going to create fits the card nicely and leaves a border of the actual card around it. So I'm going to push this over out of the way. I started with the 1 piece of white daisy cardstock. Imagine this was solid. I know you see all the little cuts here. I placed this rectangular stitched die cut down on my paper, cranked it through my Cuttlebug machine, and I ended up with 2 pieces. I ended up with this outside piece, like I said I would. It's about 1/4 inch all around. And I ended up with this solid inner piece, but it also has these stitches around the outside, which I thought was really nice, the stitch detail. Now, I knew the card that I wanted to create. I wanted to create a square shaker element in my card. So I went ahead and pulled out the smallest of the 3 square thin cuts, and it works the same way. I laid that one down, cranked it through my Cuttlebug, and alas, I had not only my original outside piece, which is what we're going to use, I had 2 more little pieces. So out of this die, I was able to cut these 2 elements. So Close to My Heart has really thought this out well, in that we're getting the outside element and a usable inside piece. So depending on which one you want to use, or maybe you want to use both, these 2 we're not going to use for the card. I just merely wanted to get that nice square cut out. So these 2 I could use on another project. I haven't decided which one yet, but that'll be useful in some point in time. And the same with this outside big rectangle. I might use that on a darker card base. So I'm going to set those stitch cut rectangles and dies and square dies aside, but just wanted to show you those. I really like them. I anticipate that you'll be seeing them in a lot of my cards down the line. Okay, so what I have done is I have simply, once again, using our intense black ink, and this block is a little bit too big, but that's okay. I'm going to just ink up the hello and friend. I'm going to make the same card that I made yesterday. And I'm just going to stamp. And one thing that I would mention that I just forgot to do was that I could do two things to cushion the stamp and get a much better image. I could have just placed this little foam pad that comes with my stamp set right underneath before I stamped, and that would have provided a much better image. Or I simply could have used the Versamat here and flipped that over, but being that I had so many elements laying on here, I didn't want to do that. Okay, so we've now stamped the sentiment. And one of the things that I wanted to show you was that I opted for the watercolor pencils. And I have a little bucket of them. And these are the colors that I actually used yesterday. I set them aside. There's 36 in this set. And there's not a color creation that you can't come up with using these. And you'll also see that I had my little shimmer brush, the clear shimmer brush here. You guys know from my maybe my butterfly cards from Extravaganza that I did a video on, how much I like using this with the watercolors. Okay, so I'm going to set aside that little card piece. We're going to work just on this flower. What I started to do was color using this olivey color. I know there's probably names. I think somebody just put them out. And I am not very accurate when it comes to coloring these. I just really loosely place down a little bit of color like you just saw me do with this olivey color. I also did that already on the other green pieces. I kind of liked this pinky peach color, and you'll see that I went around and did most of the petals here. I left one to show you. See, I'm not even like accurate with my colors because it's all going to blend together anyway. I just sort of go loosely around the outside. I like the harder side of the Versamat for doing this. I find that if I'm doing something on a squishy surface, if I'm trying to put down some color, I end up breaking the points because I tend to have to push a little bit harder because I'm getting no resistance, so the color doesn't lay down. I've taken this pretty like raspberry colored pencil, and anywhere that I saw some lines here, I figured let's just make those a little bit darker. So I just keep going. There is no science to what I do at all. I just try it and see if I like it. If not, it's just paper. But really, everything that I've tried with these watercolored pencils comes out pretty cool. So it looks like I am an expert at this, and nope, I bet you that my daughter could do it better. But I'm just going to rush through this. You see how messy I'm being? But you'll see it just doesn't matter. These pencils are so forgiving. Okay, we're nearing the end here of this pretty boring coloring if you're sitting here watching. I could go back and do all of these little flowers too. I just laid down a little bit of color. Here's a lighter pink. Let's put down some of that. And also I used this bright yellow color, and then this one is sort of like a chartreusey gold color. I had started with just putting some yellow down on those dots that were in the center. I guess what would you call those, stamens on the flower? I might be wrong. It's been a long time since I studied horticulture in school. So I'm just going to add some of this gold, this chartreusey kind of gold too, because I wanted to soften that yellow. It came out a little bit too bright for my liking yesterday. And again, if I was going to, for time's sake, I'm not going to do it, but I'm not going to do all of the coloring on the little buds here for you. You'll get the idea without me doing all of that. So I'm going to load up my shimmer brush just a tiny bit by squeezing it. And I started with the gold yesterday, and you'll see that I just rub quickly in a circle and it has blended. I hope you can see that it's blended all of that color. Okay, and I should have gotten a little scratch piece of paper, but I'm just going to wipe this brush on my hand instead to get rid of some of that gold. And I'm just going to go in and start picking up the pink. See how easy that is? So I usually start on each petal, start with like the lighter color and then just pull the darker color in a little bit. You might have a different manner in which you color, but I just like the results I get from doing the lighter to the darker. Okay, see how easy this is? It's relaxing. There's really no skill involved. I didn't even color, color neatly within the lines. and that's okay. It's turning out beautifully, in my opinion. Again, I never really took any art classes, so there's probably some big technique I'm missing here, but that's okay. Now, I don't know if the camera's picking it up. It would be really hard for me to tell right now, but see if I can pick it up, and if you could see any of that shimmer that the shimmer brush puts down. It's just a really subtle layer of clear glitter that's going down there. And I could probably even just take some of this pink and, yeah, it is picking it up from the, as I'm picking it up off of here, I can actually just do that on the buds, just lightly color the buds, and then I don't have to spend a lot of time trying to stay within the lines on the buds. Okay, so I'm just going to wipe it on my hands again, that very scientific method, and I'm going to go over the green colors, and you'll notice as I do that, the green becomes a little bit more vibrant too. See that? So, missed a little bit of pink. I needed to just soften that up. Now, if I wasn't happy at this point, if I decided that I wanted a little bit more of the raspberry color, I could lay a little bit more color down. No harm in that. And just do some of the shading a little bit darker if I chose to. I could leave it like that, or I could just go in gently once again and pull the color. Totally, you know, up to you what you want to do, but you see that I've darkened some of the shadows there. I kind of like that. So that's an option too. You would decide when you're finished, which is great. Now, I forgot my actual card base. Just a white daisy card base. So we're just going to pretend here for a moment, okay? So one of the things that I wanted to do was to make a square shaker card. You know, we sell those round shaker pieces, and they're wonderful, and they're shaker thin cuts, and they're great. But I wanted to try something a little bit out of the box. So I decided that with the smallest square die, the opening, that one of our 2x2 flip-flops would work perfectly. I couldn't find my gold loose sequins, so I grabbed my silver. I have been using these on everything. I've used them on my cut above subscription layouts on all 8, so 16 pages of those. I've used them in shaker cards, and this bag, it's a bag that keeps giving. So I think the gold would have paired nicer with the center of my flower, but that's okay. As you can see, very monochromatic in there. And I think this time what I'm going to quickly do, while I have you guys here, I have a piece of just press and seal. I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm working in the kitchen and not downstairs. We're awaiting a snowstorm, and I didn't want to be downstairs in the cold basement while doing this. So I just spread out a little handful of this confetti, and what I'm going to do is using one of my Shinhan Twin Touch markers. This one is light orange R140. I'm just going to, let's try the fine point here. I'm going to take these white ones and give them a little color. I'm not really taking it that well. Let's see if one of the other ones does. How about that? You know what I did? I pulled the dead marker out of my marker case. So I'm going to run to the other room really quick. I got to move a light to do it. And I am back. Silly me, grabbed an unworking marker. I have 2 of them. I have been using these for years. So a few of my markers are getting a little bit used. Okay, so now I'm getting some color on here. This one's very faint. I don't know if the video is going to pick it up, but I just wanted to be able to take these sequins and I got a star stuck to that one. Okay, maybe press and seal wasn't my best idea. You guys can laugh right along with me because I thought it would hold the sequins down as I was coloring these. And they're moving a lot. So let's try a different color that maybe will show up a little bit more vibrant on camera. So this one is the R5. It's a cherry pink Let's see if that one will show up a little bit better so that you can see it. But there we go. That one I think is going to be a little bit better on camera for you. So the nice thing is that I can add some color right to these sequins too. And when I add them into the card, into the little flip flap, the 2x2 flip flap here, thinking that it'll just give it a little bit more interest than the white and the silver elements. So I just use the broadside to try to save some time since I'm keeping you so long on this card. And now here's the tricky part. I'm going to try to get them off of here. So I'm just going to grab that little bag, put another little handful. If it was really staticky, I think that I would use my anti-static pouch. That would help tremendously. And I'm just going to slide some of those colored sequins down in here. This is an option. You could use these sequins and color them any color of the Shinhan markers that we have. There's like 24 colors. Okay, so you guys get the idea. I'm not going to pick up all these little ones. So let me move that aside as well. To build the card, what I have done, let's pretend that this is my card base here. I have sealed this little flip flap, so you're not going to see this. Just glued it closed with a little adhesive. Okay. I think I did it upside down so that you wouldn't see most of that adhesive. And simple, I just adhered it right to this die cut piece, okay? I used foam tape to adhere it to my card base. So we could actually do that right here. Let's pretend this is it here, okay? So now we've got some nice colors here, right? We've got a little more interest in that shaker card. I also took some foam tape and put it on the back of my peony. And I laid it out so that I could still see the sentiment. Popped it up a little. So we could actually go ahead and do that. Just going to give it a tiny bit of foam tape here. Peel that off. Okay. I'm just going to leave it on top of this other one as a guide here. So you can get the idea. Okay. So that's it. So now when I shake my card, you're going to have some more color. I kind of do like the way the raspberry turned this more pink. The original seemed to be picking up the peach undertones of the card. Oh, and one more thing. You know what else I did? This one's pretty cool too. I showed you this in the other video. I took my 2 gray watercolored pencils and I wanted to pop this element off the page a little bit more than that foam tape was letting me do. See that? You can see some dimension, but we're going to give it some more faux dimension here. Okay. And once again, you know, I do everything. I just try it and see if it works. So this was something that I had shown everybody how to do at Close to My Heart's extravaganza back in June. And did this with the butterflies. And a lot of people really, really, truly thought that those butterflies were three-dimensional. Instead, they were just stamped directly onto the watercolor paper. They weren't even dimensional as this peony is here. So I just loosely traced around the bottom of this, right? Not difficult at all. Did not do the top. You could definitely use a water brush or watercolor, what do they call those things? Like one of those aqua brushes that we carry. But again, I'm just going to use this. My other card, I didn't want the glitter to show, but this one I think it's kind of hidden under there. So I'm hoping that the camera's picking this up. I just went in and softened those lines so that they look more like a shadow. Oh, let me pick this up and show you guys. So see that right there? I'm just going to go in and basically I'm just smoothing those lines. Can you see that? Okay, so it creates even more dimension. It creates a false shadow under there, which I really enjoy doing as well. So again, if you wanted to make this card, you are free to go ahead and shop with me. You've seen the little address here, andreasherman.closetomyheart.com. I would highly recommend getting these thin cuts, the stitched square frames and the stitched rectangle frames. These, I think, are going to be hot commodities. Would not want you to miss out on those. And they're really reasonable. They're one's right below $25 and one is right above. So I think they're about $23 and $26 per set. And this is another one that our thin cuts always seem to go most quickly from our websites. And we have 4 months with each catalog, and the more popular thin cuts are always gone within the first month or two. I know Chelsea Gardens was one that had a floral that was beautiful like this, and it was gone within the first month. So I really want you to be able to get these. So Budding Peony, and this one is Z4264, the stamp and thin cuts. I just think the thin cuts are worth their weight in gold. Some loose sequins, the watercolor pencils, the shimmer brush. The gold one's really cool too. The clear is what I used in this project, and probably most of all, I've really used this in my classes so often that I've gone through a few. And I use the Shinhan to color the sequins. Not necessary, but totally fun to do. So again, I'm going to give you a close look at the card. I was very happy with the way it turned out. Hope you guys like it. And if you decide to go ahead and do this, I would love to see you post pictures of different maybe color combinations that you did. Maybe I'll do some more too with different combinations. I was thinking a nice blue or purple might be pretty also. So thanks. Keep me posted on your progress, what you've made. Have a good day, everybody.